Call to order the Landmarks Commission meeting for September 26, 2022. Time is currently 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
David Craycraft.
Here.
Pete Lynch.
Here.
Roger White here. Jamoya Cox. Dr. Scott Kelly.
Here.
Whit Wardell.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Jamoya Cox and Rich Dobda from this evening's meeting.
I'll second.
Roll call. David Craycraft.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes. Can I get an approval of minutes for the August 22nd, 2002 Landmarks Commission meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 22nd.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. David Craycraft.
Yes.
The first application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-033. This is the tabled application from last month's meeting for address at 53 West Mound Street. The applicant this evening is here to further discuss the new 5-foot aluminum fence that is located along Elm Street. Up on the screen is a photograph of the subject property. Again, this house was constructed around 1890. It's been in the historic district of West Mound Street since 1988. The property owner replaced the existing wood fence with a 5-foot aluminum that was installed here on the left. During last month's meeting, the Landmarks Commission had asked him to take a look at different alternatives for altering the top rail for it to match other features they're looking to see on the property itself. The applicant is here this evening with updated information for you guys on that request.
Hello.
Hi.
Ironically, since we had this last meeting, they were repairing a telephone pole out front of that said fence and dropped a pole on the said fence. So good news is we'll get to get it, hopefully now I get someone else to pay for it, so that works out pretty good. So I did print, I had Andrew send me some, the ones that you guys had approved before.
Thank you.
Assuming,
Thanks.
Showed these to Mama Johnson, I think she does approve of that, so.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So this is 42 inches, no longer 5 feet.
It'll be, I assume it'll be the same size as what we currently have out there. I mean, I know these are the ones that he sent me, but I just literally was looking at the spear on the top of them, so I'm assuming that.
I was going to say, it says 42 inch on the sheet.
Yes.
The example I sent you, Sean, was for a smaller fence, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think there's a taller option listed
I
in
got
there.
you. I'm assuming we'll keep it the same size.
As what you have now.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's okay with that being on the lot that he's on, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you think it's 5 foot?
What we have now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still plain in black.
Yes.
Solves that problem. Good.
So,
Is that all we're discussing?
Yeah, I believe so.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve certificate CA-22-033 as stated.
Second. Roll call, please.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-036. Address of the subject property is 47 West Mound Street. The applicant this evening is requesting approval for a new aluminum fence along the north property line of this subject parcel. This residential home was first constructed in 1873. It has been on the National Register of Historic Places since 1988, accompanying the previous application for the West Mound Street Historic District. This property has a section of existing fence you can see here on the screen to the left of the home. This fence section was approved in March of 2004 by the Landmarks Commission. During that discussion, the Landmarks Commission approved the removal of an existing chain link metal fence. During that discussion, the applicant was unsure if they wanted to do a cedar fence or a metal fence. The application started off with a cedar discussion. Looking at the minutes, the Landmarks Commission recommended for that particular parcel a metal fence. With discussion of with the applicant, they determined something similar to the village pool at the time was something that may be appropriate. So those were the two options the Landmarks Commission permitted. A section of the fence and one gate was installed. The rest was never completed. The applicant is requesting to finish the fence along the north property line to tie into the fence, the existing neighboring fence on the side. Just for like a very kind of rough look here of how that fence would go, it'd be basically finishing this gap behind this tree that would tie into the corner of the neighboring property.
Andrew, do we have any pictures of the pool fence?
So the pool fence at this time is not this same style. The pool fence, I'm not sure in 2004 if it matched what was on the property here today. I know the property has changed hands since this original section went in. Currently, the pool fence is either like a 6 or 8 foot tall aluminum that has just the spears that are sticking up and they're kind of curved. So I'm not sure how the discussion got oriented around matching, or I'm assuming it did because I didn't see any notes that what was installed, didn't meet what the Landmarks Commission had approved at the time.
So is there just an 8-foot section and then a 4-foot gate?
Yeah, it looks like, and this photo may show it a little better, it looks like there's a little tiny section that connects it to the house.
So if they change out the 8-foot section, it's something different. That's
Was
not
the
that big of a
applicant here?
change.
Is the applicant here? Is that a no?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so.
So I'm thinking if they're gonna go ahead and put 22 more feet, if they change
Just
out-
over to the wood fence to the east, is that where they're going to?
Yes.
So if they change out that 8-foot section at the same time with something that would be,
Yeah, we don't even know if they can even match this up.
right,
If you look at the quote information from what the applicant put together, there's a really blurry kind of scan photo she gave me that does show like a fence sample. It's majorly cut off, but you can see the style of that panel they're looking to connect. It does look pretty similar
Yeah.
to what's there.
yeah. That's not the same now, is it?
When was this fence put in?
2004.
I mean, I'd want to make sure that it matched exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say we do.
Table,
Table.
table.
I'd like to make a motion to table application CA-22-036 until we have more information and the applicant can be present.
I'll second.
Dr. Scott Kelly,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-037. The address of the subject property is 30 Liberty Street. The request this evening, I've just kind of categorized as a building remodel. They are looking to open up new build out of the interior of the space, and with that, they're looking to change almost the entirety of the outside of the building to rehab it for that project. From the information I could find, this building was constructed in 1954. It's been primarily unchanged from its design since it had been constructed. There's been a few minor applications that went before the Landmarks Commission in the past. The first was that Landmarks Commission approved a new metal awning on the north side of the building that you'll see in the photographs in 2013. In 2018, the Madison Township Fire Department required they do emergency exit lighting at all the doors and entrances during a fire inspection. So they went through and got approval for that lighting through the Landmarks Commission. And then in 2019, the applicant put on a new rubber roof, and it kind of modified the clay tile that was on the parapet wall. They were looking to do a coil wrap to help it blend, and also there was an issue with the warranty on reinstalling the tile. So up on the screen is the north face of the subject property. This property has frontage on 3 sides. 2 are on alleys to the north and to the west, and then to the east is the, our zoning would say is primary frontage to Liberty Street. So this is the north side with Towing Path Alley here where the photo was taken. Here is a shot of the building at the corner of the northeast corner. To the right is Towing Path, to the left is Liberty Street. This area right here above the loading docks, that's the roof that was approved in 2013 with that ribbed metal product that you can see here. And then kind of standing back on Liberty Street, looking at the building facing north. The building is really long, so it's kind of hard to get all the elevations in one shot, but this is an idea to show you of that southeast corner, and then kind of panning a little bit to the left here, looking at the south corner of the building. The applicant, again, is looking to modify the space for future tenant build-out. With the project here, the applicant has put together a site plan just to show context of the building in relationship to the existing loading docks to the north. That they are looking to do some railing on the front. Parking that is existing, there's 8 spaces that are retained to this project that are on the south. With the proposal, they are showing on the south side a kind of walk-up window for the restaurant space that's looking to go in that space for like carry-out orders and things of that nature, so you don't have to physically go inside. To the southwest corner, they are showing a proposed dumpster area, details provided. And then along the east side of the building is the primary entrance for one of those tenant spaces, and they're showing a proposed patio within that zone itself. With looking at the north elevation of the facility, I'll kind of walk through each one of the elevations. The applicant is showing that the loading dock area will have a screen railing that will protect people from that side of the facility, from the drop in the grade. They are looking to install an ADA access ramp on the northwest corner, currently where those 2 dumpsters are located. And then the existing kind of ramp to grade on the northeast corner would remain, but would have the railing added to it. This extension here is that patio on the side elevation, which I'll cover in an additional slide, but you can see just from an elevation view how it's shown from the front. The applicant has provided in the packet a example of what that railing material is. I had asked for a physical sample to be brought to the commission, since it's something that is not traditional for reference in the area. The applicant is also showing, I guess one of the biggest changes to the facility is that the brick on all 4 elevations is proposed to be painted. Chairman, you have both copies of the paint samples. I starred them so you can kind of figure out what's the primary and what's the secondary color. The application also kind of shows but doesn't provide any information. They're looking to paint all of the doors and windows in either a bronze or a black. Unsure what the paint color or code is for that one. A sample was not provided. When looking at the front elevation as well, just to note, this left dock door is what accesses the basement to the facility, so they're looking to keep that. It goes to a freight elevator that goes directly to the basement, doesn't lead inside. The right dock door, however, the plans show they want to put a storefront system in, but details for that are loosely referenced in your application, but doesn't have a lot of information on that system as well, other than it's going to be a tube-like product with storefront glass. Additionally, they're showing concepts for signage on the elevations. The signage details are not shown as well for what they are, scale, size, et cetera. Up on the screen is that mention for the screen railing material, the sample photo they provided of what that is. This is more of an industrial use material that is, I've seen on the inside of facilities to screen off sensitive areas from like the employee workforce from accessing. I have not seen it on an outside component, so that's really why I asked again for that sample. And then to the right, that door is being changed out for a storefront system as shown. When looking at the east elevation here, you can see that breakdown from the primary and secondary paint colors on the building. The idea behind the paint breakdown was really to differentiate the different tenant spaces in the facility. The front half of the building will have different components to it than the rear. So that was really the idea behind the paint deviation. However, it's not really clear how the paint will be broke down on the building. There's not any like relief in the building and the location they're showing, or if the brick will be half painted or follow a mortar line or things of that nature. So that was an additional item staff had to ask the applicant to help clarify. Also looking at this elevation here, you could see the patio component would be made up of the same material for the safety railing along the front. Again, the patio components doesn't really have any dimensions to it, even on the site plan, just I believe a placeholder at this time for a location. And there's also no information for what would be within the patio space in terms of any type of furnishings, umbrellas, things of that nature that the commission would want to review. The applicant is showing that all of the handrails on that side would be painted to match the proposed yellow. So that is a constant that will be carried throughout. The applicant is also showing that these two windows that you can see in this elevation, this photograph here, those will be switched out for a louvered panel system. On the interior of the space, there's some mechanical equipment that would make those windows not look into anything, to try to help tie into the industrial theme of the space. The applicant's architect felt that design element was the most appropriate, rather than trying to brick in a window or do something more permanent in that nature. In addition, the door you can see here, this overhead door, the applicant is showing to partially enclose and is looking to do the entry for the restaurant area on this elevation. Talked with the applicant's architect a couple different ways on how to best address this. At this time, the plans don't have any information on what that system would be, but the last conversation I had with him was to do a thin brick applique on whatever system that is built out for that storefront, since the whole facade's proposed to be painted. It could blend a little better in that instance and just make it look like there's a smaller door recess. But again, that information has not been clarified for this application. And just like the front elevation, there's no clear direction on the signage, what that is, scale, etc. When looking at the rear elevation, the applicant is noting that all these upper windows are proposed to be replaced with a dark bronze vinyl. Had discussions with the applicant on seeing if they could switch that out to like an aluminum type product or something a little more substantial to match the industrial character of the building. The last discussion I had was the window replacement was to help meet energy code compliance for the conversion of the space. And they believe they can get away with doing interior storm windows and may not have to replace them. But again, the details for that have not been determined at this time. The walk-up window I referenced previously would be located under this second window to the right. There is a note on the plan for the overhead view for the location of it. However, the specifics for this area have not been provided. It does look like there is some sort of canopy that is floating overhead, but nothing specific on it for the commission's review this evening. The applicant has provided information, that it would be a kind of commercialized drive-through type window pickup system, but with the way they're proposing the access to it, they're proposing it would be walk-up only. Just for clarification for the commission, drive-throughs for motor vehicles are not permitted in the Old Town area, so it could only ever be a walk-up window, so this wouldn't be something that could ever be converted. Additionally, the applicant is showing that for their needs, they're going to be putting rooftop mechanicals on the building. To screen the rooftop mechanicals from view, the applicant is showing a similar rib metal material to what that front canopy is over the loading docks. Have that be vertical to screen the mechanical units on this southeast side. And this is just an elevation the applicant put together showing that at 150 foot back from the property, you would not be able to see the mechanicals based off of the height of that proposed screening. I apologize, I did not have a really good photo of that west elevation, but this elevation, they're showing basically to paint the existing doors and walls, and again, they're looking to either do new window systems or do an interior storm and leave the existing windows as is. Again, the contents of that direction aren't clear at this time. For the dumpster screening in that southwest corner, the applicant is showing a natural cedar dog-ear wood fence that would screen the enclosure. This was one thing that has been gone back and forth on the exact design of that. The original intent was the same ribbed metal panel system that was going to have steel posts on the ends, and really the thought was to try to downplay it to make it look a little more blended into its surroundings, since it would be freestanding from the building. So this is the ultimate route that resulted from that discussion. The application does show cut sheets for lighting on the building, but there is no indication on the building where those wall packs or those light fixtures would be placed. I'm not sure if this is a placeholder this time or just a concept for what they're thinking for feedback. If there's any specific questions about this before you invite the applicant up and ask, I'd be glad to kind of walk through it with you guys one more time. I know there's a lot of kind of information that is shown on these elevations here, so.
Hey, Andrew, the windows, for example, on the north and east elevation, are they going to replace those, or are they going to leave them as is?
So the conversation I've had so far is that they would like to paint them. There are notes on certain elevations that say that there will be a dark bronze.
Those are probably steel windows now, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah, I believe they're all either aluminum or steel, true divided light windows.
So the only two that they would be replacing are at the east side, south end, with the louvers, and then possibly vinyls on the west side?
Correct. Yeah, these two windows on this elevation are in conflict with mechanical units in the space behind it. So the discussion is really how to best address that space. Discussing with the applicant that the spandrel glass component has not been favorable in the past to try to like black out a window, because then the window is not a window anymore, you know, it's just a black sticker, basically. So the applicant was trying to find creative ways to make it look a little more industrial for like a warehouse facility, you know, an old warehouse facility that's been filled in over time and adaptively reused. So that was the system they could come up with.
Well, I know on the west elevation, the alley side, there's a very noticeable step crack on that southernmost garage door that I would imagine would be addressed before it's painted.
Just to clarify that, Andrew, those overheads on that side are going to be painted, not replaced?
The applicant does not note if they're going to be replaced. It just says they're going to be a dark bronze. I assume that's what's there now. They're just going to paint
Andrew,
them.
is the applicant here?
Yeah, the applicant's here. I just thought there'd be a good opportunity for common questions on my end.
Well, you know,
before-
like a question like that might be a question to ask the applicant.
Yeah, exactly.
I also would like to make a note that Rich Dobda has joined us this evening.
Thank you.
I'll second that. I don't think so.
So the paint lines between colors will just be, what, just a tape? A
Well, you
tape
can go up
line
to the
or-
mic.
Good evening. My name is Walt McHenry. The owner, Ken Smith, and the architect had conflicts tonight, so I apologize for them not being here. I'll try to answer as best I can, you know, any questions that you guys have. As far as the paint goes, yeah, we were trying to not have one great big gray building. So the suggestion was to break it up between the two signs. And yeah, we probably would, what we'll do is we'll pick out a spot, and I'm sure that it'll be very close to what's shown on the plans. And there'll just be there'll be a line between the two. You know, the paint will, one paint will be over here and the other paint will be right next to it.
Is there a reason for paint, just desiring a different color? Is the brick in, what's the condition of the brick?
No, there's no difference in brick or anything like that. So, I mean, it was a thought that if, you know, there was objections to one color. I mean, we could paint the entire building one color. It wouldn't be a problem. But at the same time, it was thought maybe to break up the building would be more aesthetically pleasing.
I can understand the brick. I guess maybe rephrase my question. Is the brick in such poor condition that it needs painted for a preservation standpoint?
Yes, the brick, you heard earlier about the clay tile on the roof. Well, that had failed a number of years ago, before the present owner bought the building. And the building has really suffered from the time that it didn't have a new roof on it. The water drained down through the brick and has spoiled a lot of the brick. It's a shame. The step crack that you're speaking about is part of that damage from the actually from the lintel, you know, being affected by the weather. So anyhow, so So one of the things that we really like to do is we need to get this building painted so that the damage to the brick is mitigated, because right now, it's just in bad shape. I think if the owner had not put the roof on it, right now, there'd be brick, there'd be sections of brick that would be falling off this building. So, we'd really like to get that done before winter.
Thank you.
And on the garage doors and the windows, those are going to stay,
No, the garage doors on I think it's the west side, those are, I don't know whether they're fully 50 years old, but they're pretty close to that.
okay.
So those will be updated with insulated, garage doors, metal doors.
So you're saying they'll be replaced?
They'll be replaced.
Okay. On the west side?
Yeah, on the west side. And you can see there are windows on the one section to allow more light in. Not full light, but it will allow light in. But those will be replaced, yes.
Windows and garage doors? Windows also on that side?
The windows as well. The windows as well. We heard through the grapevine that you guys don't like vinyl windows. So anyway, the alternative is that what we can do is to put interior storms on it and then paint the windows outside to match the other areas. So they would be bronze. We clean them up and then paint those outside. So that wouldn't change at all for the building. And then you'd have the energy code satisfied by putting storms on the inside.
So the windows are going to stay as is, except,
Yes,
ready them for paint and then storms on the inside?
yes, yeah, exactly.
My biggest objection with looking at the different elevations, especially the north elevation, is the yellow safety wire structure you have there.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that you would go with yellow, or is there a reason that you would go with that type of material?
It was, the architect suggested that, and suggested that because it was an industrial look, and as far as the color, that it would give the building some, distinction or whatever. I do have a note here from the architect that said that if we would make that like a galvanized fence, that would not be an issue either. So, and really it's, we just thought that might be a little different look that would, that would be it would be a nice exterior woven wire fence that would be powder coated, and we thought that'd give a good look to the building as far as more than just rails out there or something like that. But I'm sure the owner and the architect would be open to suggestions if you've got something.
I don't have
Something
anything
else.
specific, but maybe some of the other members do
Okay.
have some ideas of what alternatives we might look at.
I do agree with you, Roger. I'd like to see something different there, but I'm not sure what either.
Yeah, I was thinking something along the lines of what Boar and Barrel has outside their facility, their
Okay.
restaurant. With the cable.
They have cables?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would look nice.
Well, as long as it met code.
Yeah, and
Because I know it's an
that's sort of a
elevated-
concern with that elevation,
It's an elevated,
and I don't know what the code would call for that.
They'll just
well,
be-
that's something that you'd have to
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
the
we can
architect.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
No, I'm in agreement with you, Rod. I like the barrel and bore cables.
Yes.
I think it's a nice look as well.
Mm-hmm.
This feels a little heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that would probably meet code, but certainly I can check with the architect and make sure.
I think if you post spacing is as narrow as you have it, you won't have any trouble with cable. They'll just have to be 4 inches or less
Yeah.
on center.
Right.
If cables are not an option, do we want to say like just powder coated black? Because there's obviously got to be something there, so.
Well, I think our preference is
Right.
Cable.
Let's see what
But
they
if
come
it's
out
not
with.
available,
Your preferences?
the cable system.
Yeah, the cable system.
Yeah.
And that would be, would you want the stainless steel look then? Is that the kind of look, or would you want black? I'm not familiar with that cable system down there.
Mhm.
Are there black cables in there? Is that what
I
it
think
is?
they're stainless.
What is that?
They're stainless, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the posts
Yeah.
are post
yeah, pretty
bronze.
typically, that's what we've seen. You know, I think we probably use stainless if you
Oh, they're
guys would
stainless too.
Mhm.
approve that,
Yeah.
just because, you know, I'd be afraid to paint the stuff and have it chip off,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Are you familiar with barrel and bore over
Yeah.
here on High Street?
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what we're referring to.
Yeah, and in fact, we just had dinner up at Shades, and we've got to walk back down there to get the
Okay.
car, so I can take a couple photos when I go back down.
Now, with the cable, would you suggest a solid top rail or just cable all the way through? 'Cause they do flex.
I would think with the number of customers there might be more, especially with just no break between the building. You know, it's just concrete.
Right.
That it might be best to have a solid rail on the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of people leaning on it
Mhm.
and.
It's also gonna be a little bit of a handrail too for that ramp.
Yes.
Yeah, the barrel bores is just
Right, just,
great elevation.
Yeah.
So I think they could use any kind of round or tube steel
Yeah, okay.
uprights and then a top rail.
And I think that still keeps your industrial look to some degree.
I agree.
Okay.
And we're not fans of yellow, is that to be agreed?
yeah, I agree.
Not fans of the yellow.
Are the signs, are they considering like lighted signs, or are they just,
We understand that lighted signs don't go over too well for the historic district. So what we had planned to do was to have the sign and then have a light over the sign shining down onto it. Okay. I don't know whether that's in the plans or not, but that's what we had talked about.
Are we talking about the north elevation sign?
No, I think you're talking about the east elevation.
Yeah,
signs.
the east elevation.
Do you have tenants for this location?
Yes and no, okay? I mean, there's still discussion going on as far as the project itself, yes.
Okay.
Well, is Sweet Harmony Canal, is that just a speculative type name, or is?
That's the owner of the building has specified that name right now, yeah. That's what he'd like to call it, yes.
So is it fair to say that those are just white block letters?
Yes.
Raised letters?
Yeah, right. I think they're metal letters that will sit off of the building so that, you know, they'll give some depth. But, yeah, those will be powder coated letters.
So you want to have lighting above where it
Yes.
says Sweet Harmony?
Yes. Well, I know we want to have it above where you see the little medallions. But, yeah, I think that was the idea. Let me not be totally out of line here. Let's see if I've got another elevation in here.
Is that what this lighting's for?
But yeah, I would think that, yeah, we would want that to be lighted up so that, with, you know, those various lights on the top. Kind of surprised it's not in here. And as far as the wall pack lights, those are, we're mostly replacing the existing wall packs, which either are not working or don't give off much light. Okay. No, I don't see the light fixtures on here, but I know we talked about downlighting on these signs.
The wall packs are security lighting.
Security light.
But you don't have the lighting for the sign.
I do not have the
Okay.
lighting for the sign on here. I
Okay.
apologize.
I've got a question about the windowsills. I can't recall what those are, if they're concrete.
They're
or-
concrete.
Okay, so,
Yes.
well, and I can't recall the condition of every one of those sills.
They're in need of, some of them are in need of repair, so definitely painting. Okay, so.
And then if they needed replaced, you would replace them?
Yeah, certainly, we would replace them. I don't think any need to be replaced, but they certainly need to be sealed and painted.
Maybe some patchwork.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The doors on the east elevation, I know they also have that safety railing. Just because they're an exit way and they're elevated above grade, those would be the same
Yeah.
hard top rail with
You mean
the
as far as
cables.
railing on the patio?
Yeah, well, not, if you go to the, I think this is the east elevation,
Okay.
there's two elevated doorways.
Oh, I see, yeah. Those, what we would do with those would probably, there is, believe it or not, there is a rail that is up there right now.
Yeah.
What we would probably do would be to match those existing rails that are there, or were there at some point in time. They're just a black, simple railing.
Okay.
When you say match, you match to the new style? Is that what you mean?
Probably not to the new style, because I think the cable rails would be kind of awkward there. I would think that we would just put back, railing like the existing railing right now, which is a whole lot like a railing on a porch or something like that. I mean, it's pretty basic. I don't know that we have any pictures of it, but,
Like round tube? Like,
yeah, it's actually,
Oh, yeah,
it's
I
like
see
a
it.
wrought iron railing.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
picture of it.
And it's, I don't know, a 1x1,
You see it?
with a, 1x1 style with a, with a bigger section that goes into the concrete on the bottom and up at the top.
And you're saying they do need replaced?
Yeah. Yes, they do need repair. There's one rail up out of the four, I think.
And you want to replace like for like?
Yes.
Is there a reason you wouldn't want to match it to the rest of what's going on there?
Well, we could certainly, but it's where you have these, we have these steps, I just think it's gonna be kind of awkward with the cable rails. That doesn't mean that it is, it's just, in my mind, I'm trying to imagine it, that's all.
As long as you have your uprights and a solid top rail,
Yeah,
it's really, there's not much difference than what you're going to put on this ramp,
okay,
this existing ramp.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
okay, all
I
right,
think they would look better rather than having several different styles going on.
okay,
No, I agree.
all right.
I have a question about parking on the south side. Is all of that parking belong to David Lutheran? Is that right, church? United Church, sorry.
The parking that is, that's shown on the site plan, you can kind of see the dotted line. That is the parking for the building right now. Okay, the other parking is actually part of the church.
Okay, so you do have that, at least those spaces.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the patio space on that east side and what the plans are for that?
They'll eventually be, just a railing at, what we'll do is, I don't know how many of you guys have ever been out there, but all that concrete and asphalt's kind of a mess out there. So, we'll take that out and pour a new pad on top of that. And then we'll put the railing around it with the cable rails.
And that space will be used for,
Just for outside dining. Potential, outside dining.
and would that be illuminated? I mean, would there be sight lights out there?
No, I think that the lighting would be on the tables, underneath the umbrellas or whatever, yeah.
While you're talking about the patio, one of the questions I had for the architect for this is if you look at the overall site plan, you can see the existing kind of curb approach that's in that space. And they're showing putting the patio in a section of that existing curb approach. So if you look at this kind of elevation here, there will be a wider area than the patio that will have pavement underneath of it. So listening to the applicant kind of talk about that, there'd be a new pad on top of the existing kind of curb approach is what they're proposing for that zone. I just wanted to clarify that a little bit because it's a little confusing on the site plan, and my photo here is terrible with the utility van in the way.
Andrew, is there any stipulation on whether that rail can come right to the sidewalk? that
What they're
looks like-
showing is it goes right to the sidewalk. So if you look at your page one,
Yeah, I see.
in the site plan, if you draw a straight line to connect it, it is right to that
Oh,
edge.
okay.
And I'm sorry, the patio would be elevated then?
To make it level, yeah, because currently it's not level.
Right.
And again, that would have the same type of hard top rail and cable, just
Yes.
like everything else.
Right, exactly.
So within that patio, those are two existing doorways?
Yes, there are,
And do those doors stay, it looks like they stay the same, just painted?
yes, they will, they'll stay the same.
Can you maybe explain a little further the smaller entrance where that overhead is? Is there a reason that can't just all be built out with glass?
There,
Or do they need that space
yeah.
inside?
right now, there's a potential that that's gonna be taken up with equipment inside. And so that's why it's been narrowed up.
Andrew, you said you suggested veneer brick there?
Yeah, there are a couple different alternatives that were presented basically right up to the deadline for the packet here. The first one was for it to be a spandrel glass and just have it be a glass storefront that was blacked out. The second kind of alternative was to do like a little kiosk area where stuff could be displayed behind like a glass cabinet. It was like a little bit of a relief zone. Part of my discussion with the architect was, he was wanting to use it to like display information about the business, you know, as things change over time. And my concern was that would be considered signage and that kind of intent behind it. And that, you know, the signage would exceed the amount they could have. So it was either, you know, transferring some into that space and removing the logos above the building sort of scenario. So that wasn't optimal. Looked at doing other types of kind of panel systems to fill it in. And the latest conversation I had was to panel it out and then put like a thin brick material at the same dimensions as the brick on the building to try to tie it in. The biggest concern was to have all those brick lines kind of match up, because when you hit the line flat, it'll show like a straight line. Sure. So the architect was playing around with having some relief and pushing it back a little. But I don't think a decision was made because the rendering doesn't show any texture or anything to it. So it's really hard for me to say what the end all intent was behind it. But it was really to try to make it look like it's always been a narrower door front system.
I would say, yeah, I would agree with that. The idea was to make it so that you wouldn't realize that there was an overhead door there ever.
Would there be any opposition to just matching up the brick and full masonry and
Do what now?
making it go,
Full masonry?
using full masonry, full bricks, matching in style and texture, just so it kind of goes away? If you're gonna paint it, it would be pretty easy to hide that way.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'd have any objection to that.
What are you talking about?
It just,
Just match it, the left
Door with it.
overhead there, see how they've got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About this.
So it would be either a
Gotcha.
concrete block back up with a full brick, or
I mean, it could be framed up.
Yeah, it
just-
could be
just
framed
ma-
up,
Just
too.
matching
Right.
brick and.
just as long as the
size and
outside
texture.
looks like the existing.
yeah.
Correct. That would be my recommendation.
I agree.
Any thoughts?
No, I agree with what you said.
What's the term for that, Pete? I know the architect was using one specific term for tying in the brick where it turned the corner and you're trying to make it go straight again. You're almost pulling out like every other brick to match them in. He had
To
to
lace it in.
lace it in, that was the word he used.
I'm not,
Okay.
I mean, that would be great. I don't know, with it being painted, it's gonna be a little bit less noticeable as long as the brick line up, but it would be nice to have it laced in.
Mm-hmm.
But just so it lines up.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be nice, but I think as long as, I mean, I'm not opposed if you didn't lace it in.
Maybe if it's not laced, to have that relief where it maybe sets back
Mm-hmm.
just a touch. I think I'd rather see it disappear.
What do you mean?
Andrew said one of the options was to set it back.
Right.
Just a touch. Then you wouldn't have to
Okay.
worry about that
What,
joint.
half inch?
That's gonna be a less expensive option. Just maybe a couple inches even, just to
Mhm.
give it some shadow.
Yeah.
I think that would look good.
Be a little easier than
Yeah, then trying to,
deconstructing the corner and then putting it back together.
right,
So you want to say a 2-inch offset?
2-inch offset.
Sure.
Or lace it in, was it
Recess.
either
Or, yeah.
or?
Okay.
I would imagine that we're going to want to see details of this to come back to us.
I think that would make the most sense, is to alter the rendering based off of discussion. That way you guys have a finished product to review. Because I have a slew of notes here, and I think the architect would be interested in taking a stab at it before.
Would there be any way we could go ahead and get the paint, discuss the paint, and get that approved? Right? Because you guys won't be meeting for, what, another month, right?
Correct.
My only concern with the paint is the line where the two collars meet. And I was just wondering if there could be some type of metal going from the top to the bottom, some type of that would sort of delineate that there's two buildings. That's the reason why they're painted different colors rather than just one building. It's split, you know, they ran out of paint, so we're gonna paint it this color.
Would you object to just one color?
Has everybody seen the samples that were
Yeah.
provided?
I personally don't mind it being bi-color.
I'm just trying to think of a way to break it rather than just taking a straight line and
Just
chalk
a
line
straight line.
and saying,
I mean, we-
this side's this color and this side's this color.
Well, we can, you know, I mean, I can go back to the architect and see if he can suggest, you know, something
just
to
a
break it
thought.
up there.
Just a
Sure.
thought, throwing it out to the rest of the,
Yeah,
I mean, I like the two colors.
okay.
yeah, I like the two colors. I'm a little concerned about the break between the two.
Okay, and, you know, I mean, certainly we could, you know, I mean, once we paint it, I mean, if you guys can get a look at it, you know, maybe you can say, no big deal, or, oh, no, we gotta do something there.
I've seen it done before. I mean, I guess opposite of having a recess on that back overhead door, what if you cut in a brick insert where it was actually sticks out enough that you could paint right up to the corner? You understand what I mean? Just a
Are
little
you
bit of work.
talking where like some of those older stucco buildings have like the bricks that are relieved out on the
I mean, it could
pillars?
just be a square brick. You just have to cut in a, 4-inch slot, top to bottom, insert half bricks to where they were just sticking out
Oh,
an
okay.
inch or so, which would give it a little bit of depth at a clear stopping point at an inside corner or outside corner.
Right, okay.
That's one way to do it.
Would you want that on both sides, on both the east and the west? Because I mean, the west is just
Isn't it already broken at the west? It's already broken.
The west is.
yeah, it is broken, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I don't think you would need to do it there, but I think on the
Okay.
east side,
Okay.
Well, could you help clarify for the commission why this break line was chosen in between these two windows and not? Is it just to have the signage all on one
Yes.
painted color? Okay.
So if you were to paint the building, you would paint it just as it stands right now, and then come back later and take the windows out, put the louvers in.
Yeah.
You just want to get it painted, you want to get it sealed
I want to get it
before
sealed.
winter time.
Yeah, I want to get it sealed up before winter time. That is I mean, that's the key, I think, to saving the building right now. I mean,
I mean, for example, the walk-up window, you wouldn't put that in and then paint it. You would just come back,
Right.
pop the walk-in window after it's all painted,
Yes.
or whenever it's approved. That
Yeah,
part is
whenever it's
approved.
approved, yes.
Yeah.
While you're on that lead-in discussion, Dave, what are the thoughts of the commission for the window? The rendering shows some sort of canopy overhead and then like some bollards to prohibit like a vehicle from driving the wrong way and
You mean the walk-up window?
correct, that you started talking about that. I think that's something the applicant, would like direction on so you can come back.
Well, right now, that's grass.
Correct,
Is
right,
there a grass
right,
buffer between the parking lot and the building?
right now it is, yes.
What's the site plan show?
We're actually adding some concrete there. And then, there's been discussion of the same kind of an awning that's on the north side, putting that over the window.
So
And I think
people,
that's actually that little dotted area that's in there.
so do people go up to this window and get something or whatever and then go around to wherever they're,
No, I think the thought is that they'll order online and then.
so it's a restaurant pickup?
Yeah, it would be a restaurant pickup, yes.
I mean, that's probably a part that Joyce would have to be explained more fully to us. You know, the canopy,
Yeah, you
All
probably
that.
want to see the canopy, what it would.
well, yeah,
Sure.
materials, color.
Yeah, yeah, the material, at least what's been talked about so far, I think, is the material would be the same as on the north side.
And I'm sure there'd be
The corrugated material.
a light in the canopy just to illuminate the
Yeah, right, yeah.
area. All the storefront material, like the tube light or whatever it is, we would want to see profiles.
Yes.
We'd want to see profiles,
Colors.
colors.
Does the, on that note, the other two entry doors on that east side that have the
Yes.
railings, are those getting replaced with tube light as well, or do those stay?
No, we're gonna paint those.
Okay, so the door in the center there, that's a full glass door now?
Yeah, the one on the east side where the new storefront is, yeah, that's the storefront door.
I guess that the one with the steps further to the south, is that a full glass door now?
I think that existing door is a full glass door.
Let's see if it is.
Because that was kind of the main entry
Can't see it.
for the power company.
As far as all the exterior lighting, there's no specifics designated for locations for any of those at this point?
I don't actually see anything here.
We would need to see that as well. Andrew, so is it possible to pass this paint off and table the rest of this application? I guess we would need to include the brick detail there in the back. Would you do that later?
Yes, more than likely. Yeah, yeah.
This area here?
Oh,
If it's
okay.
gonna paint it, yeah, so-
I mean, we'd also want to see more detail on the signage.
Yeah.
Andrew, what are the signage criteria for, like, so Sweet Harmony Canal is just the name of the building, correct?
Yes.
Because it'll count against the signage for the tenants, correct?
Yeah, so each tenant gets one sign on the space. And so right now, the plans are showing for 3 different restaurant spaces in the shared kitchen. So the applicant has taken that and has shown 3 different logos for the restaurant brands.
Okay.
The Sweet Harmony Canal branding, I believe, is for the office space, the future kind of retail space, everything as a catch-all.
Okay.
So part of that signage discussion was really trying to find something that met the intent of the way the signage code is written, so it could be applicable the same way. Part of the kind of ongoing discussion I've had with the applicant was just trying to help identify the space better from the exterior. Part of the space itself, it doesn't appear to be very conducive to what it is. I think better kind of wayfinding type signage that described what the uses are would be beneficial. So I know that's something the applicant's architect has been kind of pondering on how to do that and still be within the kind of signage kind of specter that's out there, so.
I just want to make sure that Sweet Harmony Canal wasn't going to take up all of the tenants' available signage You know, I don't know if it's based on a square footage of space, you get a certain amount of square footage for the signage, but it just seemed like if we made that smaller, then maybe that gray could be divided, where we were talking about making it divided, but that might be too small, that this is the wayfinding that you're
Right.
referring to.
Right.
It's awfully big.
Yeah, I think that the extra details on what those are, I think will be helpful for determining scale and placement and stuff of that nature.
If you want a gooseneck like those Sweet Harmony Canal letters, they're probably going to have to be smaller to come down to allow room for the lights, so the light fixtures aren't in front of the letters.
Right, yeah, right, exactly.
So it looks like they're putting a door in the south elevation. Similar here.
Yeah, you're right. There is a man, looks like a new man door on the south elevation also. Is that correct?
Is that into the mechanical room? Or is it an exit?
No, that is, well, that would be into the, right now, it's into the kitchen area.
So is the kitchen area the same as the mechanical room? Because it seems like those two windows there on the east elevation are going to become louvers, because that was going to be a mechanical space.
Well, there's a freezer cooler in there, which has the compressors on them.
Okay.
Okay, so that.
When you said mechanical, I thought you meant air
Yeah.
handlers and stuff like that, but that's all
Yeah.
going on the roof.
Yeah, no, it's not the mechanical
Okay.
room there, yeah,
I
exactly,
understand now.
yeah.
I'm not sure I got an answer on paint. Is it possible to?
You guys have the ability to split out the paint and table the rest of the items. I think the only outstanding question I heard was from Roger on how that paint is actually split on this space in particular. The other faces seem to have a very straightforward kind of discussion. It was this one that was kind of left lingering, is my recollection of that topic.
You want to have a brief discussion on paint? Sir?
I have no problem with the two colors. The only concern I had was the break between the two on the east elevation.
Is that option I suggested something you think is?
That's something that, you know,
That would be okay with you?
Yeah, we
Inset-
can,
Inset some brick to allow it to set out?
yeah, or can I come back with some suggestions from the architect?
That would be fine, but that'll be 30 days. It sounds like you're going to paint in the meantime.
Well, it's.
So would you just cut that out and repaint it in later? Is that the plan?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that if we do
Okay.
that,
Yeah, that'd be,
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
and then make that determination, whatever it be. Or like,
how it's gonna be.
mhm.
At least that way it gets it sealed.
Make sure I don't have more questions here.
So can we make a motion just to approve,
Just the paint.
proceed with the paint and table?
And just for my clarification, it's the painting of the brick only, not the windows or the doors or any of that other items?
Correct.
Well, I don't know if we've got color samples of the bronze.
We
I
do.
mean,
There should be on that board.
Yeah, they're on that board.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
this one. I thought this was the partition.
Yeah.
Down on the, I think down
Doors
in the
and existing
corner.
windows painted. What if we can approve?
You guys want to take a look at that one more time? Is this bronze here?
That's for the windows and the doors. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve certificate CA-22-037 for painting the building, the doors, and the windows as stated.
Brick doors and windows.
Yeah, brick doors and windows. And everything else in the application will be tabled until we get further details or information. Okay?
I'll second.
Roll call, Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Ralph Scott Kelly,
Yes.
Roger White,
Yes.
Bruce Stoughton, yes, Dave Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's your board.
You want this back?
Is someone here for the 65 West Columbus windows? I don't see the owner. Okay, we'll go ahead and discuss it. I just didn't see the owner walk in, so I didn't know if the applicant was here. The last application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-037. The address of the subject property is 65 West Columbus Street. The request this evening is to have new vinyl window replacements on the second floor of the subject property. Up on the screen is photographs of the subject property I had from 2019. The existing home has the original 3/1 wood true divided light windows. The applicant is requesting to replace 9 windows on the second floor, so the entirety of the second floor with new vinyl windows. The applicant's contractor had photos and specs put together that were shared for the commission for review. During the kind of review process of this, I noticed that the application was showing for a flat grid in between the panes of glass for the divided light on the second pane. And then I also noticed that the application contents, where they filled out for the application, says on the second line, windows will be capped with aluminum coil on the outside. Just to kind of clarify with the property owner, since I know who owns this house, verify that was their intent, was for the aluminum wrap on the outside covering the original trim, and then also for the grids in between the panes. He indicated to me that is not what was spec'd from the window company. So this was late last week. That he actually spec'd for the simulated divided light windows, and it was going to be a sash replacement with no coil wrap. That was a hard word to say. Coil wrap. So I don't know if they're not here this evening because they're waiting for reflected in the contract to match what was proposed, or not doing the project altogether. But since it's on the application, I thought, there could be a little discussion on it. And I could, if I touch base with the window company, I can let them know. But again, it doesn't sound like what the property owner had spec'd to get done. I directed the window company when they first called that these 2 particular items would not be something that would be approved by the board. And they filed in this order kind of anyway, so.
So, Andrew, it's kind of hard to tell. There's no aluminum wrap on there now, that's actually trim?
Yeah, that's actual trim on the house, and that's the original.
When we say trim, we mean wood.
That's wood siding on the house.
Wood casing. Sounds like we need to table this.
I think that'd be fine. I just wanted to briefly go through and say that the contents of it, and it didn't seem to match what the property owner wanted himself, so.
So they were wanting to just replace just sashes?
They wanted to pull the windows out of the second floor and insert new windows from the inside.
Okay. So it'll be a full-
Just the second floor. That's what the
Correct.
9 windows are.
Correct. The second floor is all the bedroom space, and the first floor windows, I guess, are in much better shape. Especially the ones that are sheltered under the porch. So they're looking just to do the bedroom space, so it has a little more conditioning being on the second floor.
So are the windows going to be the simulated divided lights?
Not as a-
That's what they wanted, but what was spec'd is not an SDL.
So we don't know what was spec.
Yeah, what was spec'd is up on my screen here.
Grids by sash. Flat grid.
I don't have any
And I
problem.
pulled up the definition of flat grid from the Window Nation website, and they had a picture of it, so that was very helpful.
Yeah, that's not what we want. I don't have a problem with vinyl. I mean, we've improved enough vinyl windows as long as they're simulated divided light. Personally.
Should we wait to get something from the vendor to make sure that's what we're getting, or that's what he's getting?
You could either wait and see that's what the vendor is getting, or make conditions of approval. I know the property owner wanted these two things I pointed out to you to be corrected, so if you guys want to approve it with those two conditions. I just am afraid, is there a discommunication between the rep and the place they're ordering, you know, what these terms mean? I hate to talk down to window people when I describe these things, but I tend to do it because they seem to do this over and over, so.
I
You're
think
just
if,
that kind of guy.
I know more about windows than.
if they were replacing all the windows, that makes it a little bit easier, but considering they're not replacing windows on the first floor, I'd like some closer detail photos, at least of exactly what those windows look like, because I think they need to match as closely as possible, which then leads to probably needing to see an actual sample window, or at least of the SDL. So it's really hard to tell. I mean, I'm all for them losing the storm windows.
And Window Nation has done some SDL windows in town.
They have?
Yeah, they did, the windows, I believe, on Trine Street, across the street from you, Dr. Kelly. Is that house with the asbestos shingles, when they put new windows, do those have grids?
I don't know.
The Brown house?
Yeah.
They were supposed to not
Yeah.
wrap the windows?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that?
They
just
said,
never-
they said someday in the future they'd come back and take it off and you guys approved it. The someday in the future part I loved, because there was no deadline to it.
Someday in the future.
So Mike probably wants to get these things ordered.
I believe he was told that, so he tried to order them, then they told him he had to go through landmarks, and he says, I know, why haven't you, done what they said yet? And so I think it'd be best if, I think what he wants is to get them in as soon as possible, but he's also, I think, understanding enough to wait if you need more info. I just wish that someone was here, because when I talked to him on Thursday, he was under the assumption a rep from the window company was going to be attending this meeting.
Does
So
anyone,
really-
anyone agree with the, replacing only half the windows? I think they should match very closely if they're not gonna do them all. 'Cause you're still, you have some directly above another, you're gonna be able to see it. And without that storm window one, it's gonna be that much
I mean, I think
more.
if we approve it, we're just assuming
Right. Yeah, I
a
think
couple things, and we can't assume.
I'd like to see a window sample, or at least a SDL sample of what they're, as compared to what their bottom windows look like. Can we suggest that?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to table application CA-22-038 until we have more up-close pictures of the existing windows on the first floor, and a product that we can compare the simulated divided light to make sure they match up.
I'll second.
Roll call, Pete Rich,
Yes.
Dave Krieger,
Yes.
Chris Dodd, yes, Roger White,
Yes.
Scott Kelly,
Yes.
Joe Wardell.
Yes.
And then I believe Mr. Craycraft had some info he wanted to pass around to you guys for old business.
Yeah, this is,
You mind just going to the podium so it's official?
I want to give you that. This is to get some color approvals for 36 West Mount Street. And here's the actual color sample.
So this is,
Okay,
did we not do any colors originally?
no, they didn't know the colors.
Iron ore. Is this for all the siding?
That's for the siding.
What color's that roof? It's gonna be dark.
I think the roof's black. I can't remember now. This thunder gray color will be deck boards, front door, screen door, the triangle, the gable end of the front porch. That's this. So these are the two colors. They've been working with a consultant, and I don't know if it's yeah, some type of a consultant.
It's awfully dark. They're so close together, right?
Can't figure out, so where they're putting. Yeah, they're a whole lot closer.
Yeah. Like a consultant.
I know there's
Just
colors.
I'm sorry, is the roof listed as black?
Yeah. It's 3 shades of black, Dave.
Hmm.
Looks like 3 shades of black.
Mhm. The gutters will be black.
Feels like it is on paper.
Right. I mean, like this, these.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen the colors yet. What are
I
the,
mean, if you think there should be more contrast,
Take them down to 10.
I do.
Is, especially the iron ore, it's very bright. Pretty sure iron ore is my camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good color. I'm just with the. with the
and I
black
just saw
roof.
these for the first time today.
It's awfully dark.
Yeah, because it's
I mean, this
pretty
here
black
with-
roof, isn't
With
it?
that contrast, you know, it looks nice, but you're gonna lose an awful lot of detail. Plus all the,
Andrew, here's the,
thank you.
are all those doors, Dave, in the back, are they that color?
yeah.
They
In
are-
fact,
they
we
are this
approved-
color.
We approved black windows and doors throughout, even in the existing house.
They're black,
They're black.
not this color.
No, they're black.
Okay. Black roof, black windows.
So this will be the lighter thunder.
No, that's the iron.
The iron ore will be
Is this
the
side.
the siding.
But I thought it said triangle porch, so that's this.
Briefly, while you guys are looking at that paint, did you get a chance to see the garage on Mound that got painted from red to that black?
This is the one
The
with
fence.
You mean Sean Johnson?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good.
Have you seen it? It looks like it caught on fire.
Looks like what?
It caught on fire.
Elman Mound, the fence, the garage that was painted black.
I haven't noticed.
They paint the block too?
No,
Just the.
just the,
It's
just the
painted, but
triangle.
It's still,
It's just not good.
yeah.
We never approved the whole front porch and railing and all that.
No.
So what do you guys think about this?
I think the general consensus is that iron ore is way too close to black.
Here's a
I
photo for you
think
guys.
there's a lot of great detail in that. I think you're gonna lose a lot of the detail in all the color. I mean, black windows, black roof, almost black siding.
Mm-hmm.
And this color for the doors is, you know, it's kind of a greenish undertone that's, I mean, they play off each other, but it's awfully dark. And this is what they've picked out.
Dave, do you have the ability to render it for them? Or have somebody render it? I'm just.
You
like-
mean pick another color?
As opposed to
Show us
choose
a
it in your
picture.
architecture.
What do you mean?
Like,
Render it in your architectural drawings.
Oh,
like paint it in the architectural drawings so you could show
We're gonna need.
Okay.
what it all looks like
watercolors.
all together.
Their consultant may already have that. If they're working with a consultant, he may already have it. Something he can show.
How could, I mean, I'll get with them, in the morning.
Because the front shingles are a dark gray GAF, right? And then there's a black standing seam metal roof in the back, and black windows.
Is there a way we could expedite this so they could get,
I mean, we may be able to have like a special meeting to like go over it, but I think,
There's a house on Mount Zion Road going down towards Lancaster.
Mhm.
They did a very similar color scheme,
okay.
and I think it's worth taking a look at.
oh, hold
Just
on, there's one actually right in town I can pull up on Google here. I know you gave me a great idea. It's across the street from the Old Town Tavern.
Citizen roof has got that gloss black kind of real similar to this. And like, if it weren't for the sheen of this not being gloss, I feel like it'd be better.
Is it stainless steel?
Yeah,
Just in the back?
Yeah.
And then there's asphalt on the
The shed
front.
roof is stainless.
The front roof got asphalt, right?
Mhm.
Okay, but it's still it's still black.
Mhm.
Like onyx? Black.
No, it's,
Gray. What did you say, Andrew? It's like a gray black?
There's a house here, let me see if I can pull it up. It's across the street from, it's right next to Old Town Tavern, and it's all black, the whole building.
Oh,
The,
the Elderwood Farm?
well, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two houses down from me is an all-black house with white windows.
Woodrow House.
Yeah.
of course, this damn tree's gonna be a no.
It's crazy what you can do.
Now, they painted all these windows and doors black since then, you can see they started to.
Yeah. You can just imagine with a black roof, what,
And that's an Airbnb, in case anybody wanted to know.
Got lots going on there.
That's an Airbnb?
you don't want to walk too far from Old Town Tavern.
And Pete, you said there's a house on my mountain.
There is a house on Mount Zion, just before you get to Royalton Road, if you're coming from like Lycopoulos Road or what is that?
Just past the brewery or,
If you go past the brewery, turn right on Mount Zion, you'll have to go down just before you hit Royalton Road. You won't miss it, it's on the left, it stands out like a sore
The
thumb.
brewery right past Carroll.
Yes, Mount Zion is right past the brewery if you're heading from here. You turn right on Mount Zion, you have to cross over Wilson Road and then it's
Am I in the right place here?
before you get to.
Airport, Meyer, back up this way.
Before the airport is by, town, or it's by
Try
the
it.
Tractor Supply.
I got lost. You gotta get on the other side of 33.
Is that the brewery?
West side of
What are you
33.
talking
Yeah,
about?
it's gonna be west side of 33. So do you see Royalton Road?
No, I think they're talking about the,
Scroll up a little bit, I'm trying to see, what is it? I'm not sure where we are.
Just take Lycopoulos Road down.
Yeah, you gotta go,
There's Carroll, Bloom Carroll High School.
go south,
Yeah, that'd be,
our development.
if it's Rockland.
south till you get to 188 there. Let's see. That's Lycopoulos, you're getting there. So go straight down.
Collins Road.
Yeah, there's, okay, so
Fair.
coming out Wilson Road, and then
Yeah.
you're still gonna be south of Wilson. Keep going, a little bit to the left, to the west. All right, that's Royalton Road going off, follow Royalton.
This one?
Yep. And then that first right should be Mount Zion, I believe it's that
Mount
house.
Zion, this one?
It's one of those houses right there. Oh, across the street from that. Oh, this is an old picture. Dang,
2019.
There's nothing
The
here.
house is gone.
There's nothing here.
All that work.
That's a
That was a
bummer.
fun adventure.
Jeez. Yeah, there's like 6 houses there now.
Hey, Andrew, is this something where I could drop off to you, let's say a rendering, I'll get a rendering, drop off to your office and then have these guys just stop by your office and look at it?
Or
If
you've
you
got
want
all
an
of our,
independent vote.
you've got all of our email addresses. Just mail, just
Yeah, okay.
send it out to all of us and then,
What we would need to do is schedule like a special meeting, since it's something that's, you know, an actual application item. We can just schedule a special meeting, and then review it, and then just like, you know, post whatever the results are.
I mean,
It
we've
could
got to
be,
come to go to Mount Zion, that house.
It's a good.
I mean, is that a,
I'm trying to find.
is there an
it.
address
There's
of
no,
that
there's,
brick house that you saw?
no.
Just so I could give them an idea of where to go. Oh, there's
293 Mount Zion Road,
293, then what's the other one? 1311?
311. It'd be right across the street, so whatever's right here.
You're bringing this up because you think this will deter them from going all black.
I hope so.
I just want to make sure.
Let's see, there was roads going Mount Zion.
Just remember, guys, it's only paint. And if it looks terrible, it can be repainted, you know?
Yeah, but paint on a big project is a lot of money, right?
Well, and it, like that girl that painted her house black, there's other people who want to do that.
Is there anything else for old or new business? I don't have anything else.
Guess you can't do that view.
I've got a question. The people that were here,
Probably
I
from
mean,
the
do you
church.
think they knew
the harmony.
what our responsibility is on these projects?
I informed one of them
Okay.
how this body works.
I mean, it's,
Anything for old or new business?
I make a motion that we
adjourned.
adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Dr. Scarpelli?
Yes.
Whit Wardell?
Yes.
Roger White?
Yes.
Rich Dudley, yes. David Kirkhope?
Yes.
Steve Lindsey?
Yes, time is 8:33.